What if death was not a fall but a conscious leap into freedom? In this chapter, Sadhguru introduces us to Mahasamadhi, the sacred possibility where a yogi willingly leaves the body at will, fully aware and fully in control. This is not fantasy or legend, he says, but a possibility achieved through intense yogic mastery. While most people fear death and resist it till the very end, the one who attains Mahasamadhi greets it like a long-awaited lover, with grace, joy, and deep stillness. Sadhguru explains that Mahasamadhi is not about dying. It is about transcending. It happens only when a being has completed all karma, burned every residual impression, and is no longer bound by the compulsions of the physical. Such a being no longer needs to be reborn because there's nothing more to complete. Life for them has become a full circle. They are free, not in theory but in the deepest cosmic sense. He gently warns us not to misunderstand this as escapism. Mahasamadhi is not an act of rejection. It's not running from life, it's the highest expression of life. Only when a person has fully embraced life, tasted every aspect without resistance and risen above it, can they consciously choose to exit. In this, death becomes a doorway, not into nothingness but into boundlessness. Throughout history there have been yogis, sages, and enlightened beings who chose their moment of departure with precision. They did not die due to illness or old age. They died because they were done. Sadhguru shares that even in our times, this has happened. Quietly and without spectacle, great masters have stepped out of their bodies like one steps out of a well-worn garment, without attachment or emotion. Sadhguru tells the story of how Adiyogi himself, after transmitting the science of yoga to his 7 disciples, sat down and simply left his body. No drama. No sorrow. Just a complete and conscious release. He reminds us that such moments are sacred, not for mourning but for reverence. These are not deaths in the ordinary sense. They are dissolutions into the eternal. One might wonder, how is this possible? Sadhguru says the answer lies in deep awareness. The yogi who attains Mahasamadhi is intensely aware of every layer of existence. The physical body, the energy body, the mental body, and beyond. Through discipline, practice, and grace, they loosen the threads that tie them here. It is a delicate, profound science, not a mystical accident. He explains that in yogic tradition, the human system is like a sophisticated machine. Most people don't read the manual, they simply use it until it breaks. But the yogi studies the machine. They master it. And eventually they know how to shut it down consciously, not with fear or reluctance, but with a sense of purpose and peace. It's not suicide. It's transcendence. But Sadhguru also makes it clear, Mahasamadhi is not something to pursue. It is not a goal for the ego. If one seeks it out of pride or impatience, it becomes dangerous. Instead, it is a flowering that happens when one has outgrown all desires, all attachments, and even the need for liberation. It happens not because one wants to leave, but because there's nothing left to hold them here. The beauty of Mahasamadhi is not only in how one dies, but in how one lives. A person preparing for such an exit lives every moment in utter awareness. Every breath is taken consciously. Every action is offered with devotion. Their presence radiates a quiet power. And when the time comes, they simply become silence. That silence is not absence, it is sacred presence. Sadhguru reflects on how most of us live as if we're never going to die, and die as if we never truly lived. But the yogi reverses this. They live knowing death is a certainty, and thus they live intensely, joyfully, and fully awake. When death comes, it's not a thief. It's a whisper. And the yogi responds not with fear but with stillness. He points out how modern life, with all its comforts and distractions, has numbed us to this possibility. We celebrate success, fame, and wealth, but we forget the most profound success is to die consciously. Mahasamadhi is not about becoming someone. It's about dissolving into the source. The one who attains it doesn't leave a legacy of words. They leave a fragrance of grace. Sadhguru describes how the energy of a being who attained Mahasamadhi continues to bless the space where they departed. Their presence lingers. Their wisdom seeps into the land. Temples, shrines, and sacred spaces across India have grown from such deaths, not because of what was said but because of how the yogi left. That energy speaks louder than any scripture. He emphasizes that while few may attain Mahasamadhi, we can all live with greater awareness. By meditating, shedding attachments, and living with sincerity, we prepare ourselves, not just for death but for life in its highest form. The goal is not to seek death, but to live so completely that when death comes, we are not caught by surprise. The idea of Mahasamadhi invites us to reevaluate our values. Are we chasing things that will perish? Or are we building something eternal within ourselves? Sadhguru's voice is calm but piercing. He reminds us that liberation is not after death, it begins now. And each moment we live with awareness is a step toward that final freedom. As you reflect on these sacred truths, ask yourself, am I living with the intensity and clarity of someone who knows death is near? Not with fear but with reverence. If this chapter stirred something within you, let it deepen your path. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to continue this transformative journey through death, an inside story. Let each word open you to life's deepest possibility.